Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. As 2023 rapidly winds to a close, what can we expect from the Indiana economy in the year ahead? Well, 2023 was another record year for economic development in Indiana. Commitments for billions of dollars in investment and thousands of jobs. Areas like electric vehicle batteries and semiconductor manufacturing. Kokomo, as an example, will be home to two GM Samsung SDI joint venture battery plants. And the Indiana Economic Development Corporation says its steel pipeline is as robust as ever. Indiana has been designated a hydrogen hub, and with it the potential to tap billions of dollars in new funding, fueling new investment and jobs. But will the dark clouds of recession, inflation, interest rates rain on Indiana's economic parade in 2024? For some answers, let's turn to Phil Powell, the executive director of the Indiana Business Research Center at the IU Kelley School of Business. And Phil, it's always great to see you.
Good to see you.
Hey, okay, again, a lot of uncertainty, and there has been for a while. The threat to the potential of recession, what are interest rates, inflation going to do? But your forecast is actually fairly positive looking ahead to 2024.
2024 is going to be a good year. We're getting back to normal. It's time to dust off that playbook that business put on the shelf in 2020, get away from fear and drive forward. Our state has momentum. It is true that there is a slight slowdown in consumer spending on durables, which does have a disproportionate impact on manufacturing in the state of Indiana. But when we look at 2024, we only expect us to have about a half rate of growth lower than the rest of the country. So it won't be a spectacular year, but it'll be a slow growth year as we get back to normal.
Okay, and you mentioned manufacturing. Indiana, of course, very manufacturing intensive state. This weekend, IBJ Media and Fifth Third Bank put on an economic forecast event. And one of the economists there talked about the double-edged sword when it comes to manufacturing and the pros and the cons, if you will. Here's what he had to say.
Manufacturing is certainly one of the more cyclical industries. So in a downturn, actually manufacturing tends to lead economies into recession, leads them out of recession too. So short term, 2024, that's going to be a negative for Indiana, but we should also say it's a long-term positive for the state. Yeah. Very productive industry, a lot to be said for a good manufacturing base in a time period of reshoring of manufacturing.
Your take on it. Would you agree with that, Phil?
Absolutely correct. Now, when he says negative, he means slower growth.
Yep.
So is there a chance of a recession in 2024? Yes, but we're not putting our money on it. Indiana typically experiences those downfalls first, and then on the upswing first also. So this is why durable goods spending is typically a leading indicator of where the economy is headed. So completely accurate statement, but he's also correct in that reshoring is bringing a new renaissance in manufacturing to the state.
Okay. I want to ask you about this. This is a big issue, productivity. And you had some very, I thought, striking comments about productivity when it comes to Indianapolis and the Indianapolis metro area. We're adding jobs here, but that productivity piece, you call it a crisis.
We're in a productivity crisis in the Indianapolis metropolitan area, not just Marion County. When we ran the numbers just recently, we found that real labor productivity, which is what determines the earnings capacity of Hoosiers, it grew 18% in the nation. It only grew 3% in Indianapolis over the last 15 years. So if you take 3% over 15 years, that's almost really no change. Indianapolis is standing still while our peer metropolitan regions like Columbus and Nashville and Charlotte and Denver, which are the areas that the Indy Chamber has chosen as our peer regions, move forward.
Wow, that's some striking numbers there for sure. Hey, very quickly, Phil, again, bottom line, you see 2024 as a positive year. We talked before the interview that employers can dust off their playbooks and maybe invest without fear.
Yeah, it's time to think long term. It's time not to make decisions based upon fear. The U.S. economy is exhibiting extraordinary resiliency. We're starting to see a new wave of technological innovations like we did in the 1990s. It's time to make investments. It's time to take some risks. And it's time to move forward, if you're a business owner, in what you do really well, and to even consider some new markets or some new product categories.
Phil Powell, as always, some great perspective from the IU Kelly Indiana Business Research Center. Phil, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.